Alright, we're in our next Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4 Disney Plus show. I'm gonna start off by giving you a spoiler warning. If you have not watched this episode yet, probably best to steer clear of this video. Unless you don't care, in which case, alright, I guess it's okay to stick around. Alright, let's go! Loki, Season 1. Yeah, I do hear that there is another season of the show planned, so I'm gonna say Season 1 for now. So Loki is our next Marvel Disney Plus show. We've had WandaVision, we've had Falcon and Winter Soldier, now we have Loki. And it takes place right after Loki gets away in the Endgame time heist, as we all thought it would. And pretty much just like that, he's immediately arrested by the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, because he took the Tesseract and escaped. That's not what was supposed to happen. So he's a variant now, he's in violation of the sacred timeline, although he's completely unaware of it, which makes sense, he would be. Although actually he does try to blame the Avengers because he's like, oh yeah, there's another Tony Stark, you could smell his cologne. They traveled through time. You should arrest them, not me. But then he gets quickly corrected because the judge is like, nah, that's what was supposed to happen. Loki is really put in his place in this pilot. And the fact is, he actually does not know what this place is. So the second trailer kind of fooled us because it showed him entering the TVA and the voiceover says, I know what this place is. Yeah, that was misleading. He doesn't know what this place is. I did not know that Miss Minutes, who's kind of like the mascot of this place, I didn't know she was going to be voiced by Tara Strong. I love Tara Strong, man. Timmy Turner from Fairly Odd Parents, Raven from Teen Titans. I was waiting for her to voice something in the MCU. And so while Loki is waiting in this line, there's this instructional video, which I didn't even notice the first time I watched this episode. It changes the aspect ratio. This whole episode is now in 4:3, kind of like early WandaVision. And this video actually really explains a lot. Apparently, this sacred timeline is the result of like a big war of many timelines and like the potential threat of a multiverse or something. And then these big timekeeper deities came into being and they merged all these timelines into one. That is the sacred timeline, the one timeline in this universe, I guess. And so when a variant strays from that path, not only is he or she making another timeline, but they're creating another universe, which, yeah, that makes sense. They're branching off, they're creating an entire universe now, because the events of the time have changed. So now you have two different universes, therefore you have a multiverse, essentially. Which I can't help but thinking now, going forward, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is probably going to deal with this. Whatever events occur in this show will probably power the events of Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's really exciting. Yeah, we thought WandaVision was gonna start this whole multiverse thing. No, I mean, maybe. But really, we see it starting here in the pilot of Loki. Because we see that when these time variants are judged for their crimes, they're brought to trial, normally that results in them just being reset, which I assume means they're just reset to what they were before they became a variant, and they are kept from doing the thing that made them a variant, and so then the sacred timeline just resumes smoothly. That was going to happen to Loki, but then Agent Mobius stepped in. He's like, nah, I think we could use him. Which I will say, that is quite the risk that Agent Mobius is taking. Probably would have been safer just to reset Loki and have this whole thing done with. Maybe. I don't know. Loki is a bit ignorant though. Of course he would be. It makes sense within his character. He's like, yeah, this whole place is bullshit. You guys don't really have any real power. But then he tries using his own powers. They don't work. So something's off about this place. We'll get to the meat of that later. The scene where Mobius shows Loki the TVA and there's that view of the place. I was like, whoa, check this place out, man. Seriously, get a load of this place. I'm just really curious where exactly or when is this place? Does it exist like outside of time itself? Probably. So then is the TVA located somewhere in space? Or just, I don't know, it's really confusing. It looks really pretty, but I'm just scratching my head. Then we get to the scene where Mobius sits down and talks with Loki. First off, I really like Owen Wilson as Agent Mobius and Mobius. He seems to be really good at his job, that's for sure. Because he's really trying to crack Loki. He's really trying to get under his skin. He's like, what makes Loki tick? And Loki's just being stubborn. He's being the Loki we know from the Avengers movie. He's like, no, I was born to rule. And Mobius is like, why? Why do you enjoy hurting people? He's acting like a therapist. I thought it was pretty funny. This whole scene, this whole conversation is like we're trying to get into Loki's psyche for like the first time. It feels like. We're like, yeah, Loki, why are you doing what you're doing? Then Mobius shows Loki his past, which I guess you have this device that just shows you your whole life story. I'd certainly like a device like that, except I don't want to see my future. I don't want that spoiled for me. And then there's the whole DB Cooper thing, which is something I'd never even heard of before this show was coming around, but apparently Loki was DB Cooper in our world, I guess. And I guess he did that because he lost a bet to Thor when they were younger. That was pretty funny. That was a cool scene though, and again, there's another aspect ratio change there. That I did notice on my first watch. When he's jumping out of the plane, it's suddenly full screen. I was like, Whoa, alright, cool. So that was a flashback, so yeah, there go any chances of Idris Elba showing up as Heimdall in this show. Oh well. But then Loki tries to escape because he's like, alright, I'm done, I've had enough of this shit. I want to go home. And it's really not until this escape attempt when he finally realizes the true power of this place. Because he wants to get the Tesseract back because they confiscated it. And so he gets it back, but then he looks in this drawer and there's like a bunch of these Infinity Stones. These like Infinity Stones, which we know in our heads are like the ultimate power in the universe. Time, space, reality, power, mind, and soul. And Loki says he's tried to use the Tesseract here in the TVA several times and it just didn't work. So we now have established that Infinity Stones don't work in the Time Variance Authority. That's when Loki truly realizes, he even says, he's like, is this the greatest power in the universe? Because honestly, this place really seems like it is. If Infinity Stones don't work here, then I feel like there's nothing this place can't do. That really was pretty mind-blowing, I gotta say. Props to the writers on that. It looks like this show will have quite the impact on the MCU. Don't know how yet, seeing as it looks like the events of this show are gonna take place all over the timeline, but I just feel like Doctor Strange is gonna have a thing or two to say about it. And then Loki goes back to the room where he was talking with Mobius, and he looks at the future he was supposed to have, which again, I wouldn't do that. Well, I guess if I were in his situation and I've completely blocked off that future from happening to me, maybe I would look at it. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever be in that situation. But he sees his whole future. We see the events of Thor the Dark World, Thor Ragnarok, right up to his death at the hands of Thanos at the beginning of Avengers Infinity War. We see it all happen on this little projection thing. It's just really interesting to see this Loki variant's reaction to it. Because you could tell by his facial expressions, he's like, yeah, this sucks. I don't want this for me. I don't want Thanos to kill me. I want redemption. I want to be with my brother again. So yeah, I guess this show is gonna be like the redemption of Loki. Interesting. And how might we get this redemption, you ask? Well, Mobius approaches Loki with his mission. Apparently there's this rogue variant going around causing havoc across the timeline. Mobius is like, all right, Loki, we need your help. We need your unique Loki perspective. Because this variant going around and creating chaos, it's you. I was like, what? Yeah, apparently that hooded figure, this rogue variant, I guess is a variant of Loki. Another Loki variant. I don't know how that's possible. We'll see, I guess. Multiverse is happening, people. It's very promising. This show might just be awesome. Because I'll be honest, I was not that excited for this show because it takes place outside of the main MCU timeline. I was like, okay, what impact can it have, really? Then this first pilot episode happened, and it was like, oh yeah, multiverse. There we go. I really think this is gonna tie in with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man No Way Home and WandaVision. Probably not Falcon though. But yeah, this is where Phase 4 of the MCU is going. That's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. This proves to be another Disney Plus Marvel show that is gonna kick ass. And there is no universe in which that is a bad thing. So, the pilot episode of Loki titled Glorious Purpose. Have you watched it yet? What do you think about it? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.